good evening and a warm welcome to you. Welcome to the Misfits Racing League. This is Season 6 for Tier 2, Round 9 of 18 here at the Circuit Gilles de Villeneuve in Canada. We are getting ready for another race in the epic series of races as already preceded this one. Azerbaijan for last week, for example, provided us plenty of epic racing, especially in Tier 3, where we saw the closest finish to date yet with only 21 milliseconds between P1 and P2. Of course, Tier 2 providing us a nice racing chain as well. So let's have a little look actually at the standings for this tier as we speak. It's Wisp having quite the healthy lead at the moment with 125 points. The first Tier 2 drive to go into the 100 points at the moment. And as I said, the healthy lead almost 50 points clear from the man in second place. Sano Goat there in the Williams car. Quite the large margin to the man leading the championship. Then it's my fellow Dutchman Remco van Putten in third place at the moment at 66 points. Only 10 points in between second and third place. Still plenty of fight going on over there. Then Wisp's teammate in Red Bull, Big Turbina, following in fourth place with 62 points. 4 points behind Remco there at the moment. And then the other Alpine driver, Remco's teammate, Polypunk, in fifth at the moment, having 53 points. Then there's Leclerc, Psycho, Deeksurf, Domi, and Alexander Johansson rounding off the top 10 over there. Alexander, of course, having put up quite a big fight after having the drive-through penalty when going around in the head of the field. So a lot of bad luck for him last week in Azerbaijan. And then there are still 3 drivers without points here in Tier 2. It's Guillen in Alfa Romeo, Crampy in Ferrari, and Gerson in Haas. All 3 drivers still without any points to their name whatsoever. Onwards to the Constructors then. We have Red Bull with a healthy lead in the Constructors actually. As expected, of course, since both drivers are doing really well. They are almost 70 points clear of Alpine in second place. With Remco and Polypunk putting in their piece of hard work. Williams, though, is following closely behind on 102 points. Only 17 points between Alpine and Williams over there. And then we have McLaren in fourth. Mercedes P5, only 10 points clear of Aston Martin in sixth. Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri battling it out for P7 there. And then Haas and Ferrari in a lonely 9th and 10th place. Only 3 points between them, though. So there's also a fight going on over there. But, and here's the main thing for tonight. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of permanent drivers, full-time drivers missing in Tier 2 tonight. There's only 13 of them attending, which, as far as I know, is an all-time low for this tier at least. And that means we had to fly in 7 reserve drivers. The players not driving tonight are Luda, Daz, Domi, Gerson, Alexander Johansson, Doni, and Leclerc. Which might be good news for Wisp to extend his championship lead even more. His nearest rivals, Sanagot and Remco, are playing though, so maybe they can put a stop to his current dominance in Tier 2. We have plenty of reserve drivers, as said, and here they are. We currently have Feral Dude driving in Aston Martin, along with Haydar Toke. If he actually realizes that the race is actually going on now, because he thought the race will happen in 1 hour from now on, and he didn't... Hopefully he'll be prepared very soon. They are both driving in Aston Martin, as neither Aston Martin driver is present tonight. Which is the first that we have a team completely empty of drivers. Then we have a Daisy driving for McLaren in the place of Domi. We have Bitto and Attila driving for the Mercedes team as Doni and Alexander are absent. So another entire team replaced there. We have Wildy driving around in the AlphaTauri in replacement of Luda. And last but not least, certainly not least, is Kierbo driving for Haas tonight. And we saw this man taking a surprise pole position last week in Azerbaijan. So we could certainly try and focus our eyes a little bit on this man. See if he can follow up on his success last week, at least in terms of pole position. With another scorching hot lap here in Canada. He had a lot of bad luck in the race though, and he didn't score a lot of points at the end of the day. In fact, having a little look at the standings right now. If I can find Kierbo anywhere. I can't seem to find him. Where is he? That's interesting. Maybe I'm blind, but I don't see him on the standings, interestingly. And I kind of forgot where he finished. But either way, all I can remember that his finishing position definitely wasn't first place, despite his pole position. So let's see what will happen tonight. Your DNF. Thank you for Kierbo for reconfirming that. For some reason, I just couldn't remember it, what exactly happened. So that might explain why you're currently not on the final standings in Tier 2. But one way or another, another chance for a good position for you tonight there, my man. Let's hope you can pull it off this time. It's going to be exciting to see who claims pole position. Nonetheless, Wisp is pretty good. As per usual, he will have a good chance of winning tonight and extending his championship lead to over 50 points if he will succeed like he did in the last few weeks. It's been a while since he won a race, until he won in Azerbaijan last week. It's only been his third win of the season out of 8 races. Well, only, I say it with a little bit of quote-unquote there, because it's 3 out of 8 wins, which is the most of any driver here in Tier 2, as well as Tier 3. So, there's that. Let's pray for rain, this is Reapy said. Well, let's see what will happen if it rains in Canada. We all know that rain will cause some interesting situations to happen in many a race. And we are still waiting actually for some drivers to join the lobby. One of them being Hader Toke. There's 18 drivers as far as I can see. Bitho is in. And try to figure out who is the missing driver at the moment. Both Alpha Tauris are in, one of them being a reserve. Can I see both Aston Martins? There we go. Haydar, yes, is one of the Aston Martins. He is clearly missing, of course. And then I think, yeah, both McLarens are present. I still think I do miss a Ferrari. We are missing the other Ferrari of Kanei. I think he is supposed to drive. Yes, he signed up, yet he's still missing. So let's hope he'll show up soon. Ferrari really needs some points. They're still last on the table. So, yeah, they'll need a good result if they want to get higher on the board. There's still half a season remaining after this race, of course, but the time will slowly and steadily grow shorter as the season progresses, of course. Hader saying just a few minutes in the chat at the moment. And Polypunk getting irritated by the lobby music. And still no sign to get going from any of the moderators slash hosts. Even though it's already 5 minutes past the official starting time. So let's hope it will not take too much longer and then we can get underway. And here's hoping for a good race. And there is the 19th driver in the lobby. Let's see who's joined. For some reason, there we go. Eruption has been flown in for to replace Kanei, and that means we now have 8 full-time drivers missing. So let's hope that next week we'll have some more full-time drivers racing in Tier 2, because this is a lot of drivers not present. Ready to go then. People readying up for the lobby. And soon we are ready to get going and get underway here in Canada for Tier 2. So the lobby is loading in as we speak. We'll soon be able to switch to the live view at the pit lane and see what the weather will be doing. I too am hoping for a bit of rain to spice things up in Tier 2 a little bit. We've seen what can happen in Tier 2 if things get spiced up. As in that we'll see many cars not finishing the race. Which is of course not something I hope. But it's definitely a spicy thing to see. Just waiting for Fraser then to get ready. And there we are. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix here for Tier 2. As we are now going to switch to the pit lane. There we are. It's a bit of a cloudy situation here in qualifying, as you can see. Unfortunately, we now have 20 drivers present for tonight's race. Hadar Takei then also joining in for Aston Martin there. So as I said, Mercedes and Aston Martin having neither full-time driver ready, which is very unfortunate for those teams. They will miss out on a lot of points. No rain is the report from Repi, so that is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we'll have to live with this situation as we turn on some interesting facts about this race. Especially, of course, the tires that people will be putting on for their first stint. It is Crampy who's gone out first here, first and foremost, as we can see him driving around over here. Let's see what he can do. Yes, a lot of all-new drivers there for me to enjoy and see what they can do as the camera decides to film the Aramco signs on the side of the track there, despite being Crampy who's be the one who should be filmed. The lovely buggy thing going on there. See, there's an interesting point of view there. Big Turbina gone out just behind his teammate Wisp. He was actually on pole for Tier 2, Gulzy, as far as I can remember. Or was he Tier 3? That might explain why he wasn't in the final results. I see. Yes, there you go. Ah, my bad. He was actually on pole position for Tier 3, and now he's gonna try out his pace in Tier 2, because obviously he's very quick, considering he managed to climb himself to the highest starting position in a lower tier. Crampy then, the first one to start a hot lap. Already going quite tight on the track limits, as you can see over there, as he approaches the end of Sector 1 on his medium tires. It's a 19.3. Looking decently quick there. Let's hope he can keep his successful run up in the second sector there on the back straight with DRS. As he approaches his teammate who's just ahead of him. Eruption there on his outlap, the reserve driver for Ferrari tonight. So this man being the only one who can score points for his team. There he is in the other Ferrari. Maybe he can give him a little bit of a tow. Bit of a lock-up there going into the hairpin. But the exit looks pretty good. He might have lost a tiny bit of time there going into the hairpin corner. As we now enter the pre-main straight for the final bit of the track. And then of course soon coming up is the famous Wall of Champions. And of course this very brutal chicane. Brutal in terms of track limits, where it's very easy to invalidate your lap time during qualifying. And there he is then, Crampy, opening up tonight's session in a 1 minute 9.3, which is almost as quick as the Tier 3 pole with a soft set of tires. So already the benchmark has been set pretty high. Gian then the second driver to come in with a 9.9 and a Daisy with the medium tires and a 9.4. So already the medium tire runners are looking quicker than the soft tire runners. Interestingly, Kierbo then coming in at a current P4, and we have his teammate Aro retiring from the session. He's crashed out on the back straight. Let's see if we can catch a quick glimpse of what happened there. I'm afraid we're just going to miss out on it. Yes, he's already disappeared. But that's a pretty unusual place to crash in the middle of the back straight. Aro then already out of qualifying. When Haas needs those points badly. Many other drivers already putting in lap times. New reserve driver Wiley over here putting in a very quick time. Already in the 1 minute 8 we go with 14 minutes still remaining. 1 minute 8.9 is his quickest time at the moment, as the soft tires are starting to show their pace compared to the medium runners. Remco, however, also very quick with Sano Gove there in P3 and P4 as we speak, with very blistering lap times. Wisp then going to setting his lap in with a 9.9 only on the mediums. And to my big surprise, there's a lot of drivers on the mediums out tonight. More than half the field is out on the slightly harder compounds. So this should prove interesting in terms of setting a lap time. Never seen that before. This many drivers on the medium tires, which already shows that Tier 2 has an entirely different mindset in terms of what tires they like to use than Tier 3 had yesterday, where in the end everybody was forced to qualify in the softs to prevent position loss. As Wisp cuts a large portion of the track to get back to the pit lane faster. Then there's only 3 drivers remaining without a lap time, Bitto being one of them. He's currently on his out lap for the Mercedes time. Predict pole time. An 8.6 wouldn't be a bad guess, but I think, as I predicted, a 8.5 for Tier 3 yesterday, which was a bit too optimistic. I'm going for a 1 minute 8.5. There's a pretty minor delta, yes. Only half a second between the mediums and soft tires as Wisp there moves out of the way of Bitto. Getting ready for his flying lap there. Big Turbinas, I believe. Actually, the Red Bull moved out of the way over there. He's already set his lap time on the soft tires. Only 2 milliseconds away from the front row. Look at that. Big Turbina being really quick on the soft tires. Nearly in the front row. And currently a lot faster than his teammate, who of course went on the harder compounds. Wiley is quicker than I thought, yeah. Wiley looking like the surprise of the night at the moment. As Crampy is getting ready for his second attempt, and let's see what tires is he on. He's actually on the soft tires there, so it looks like the big switch for most of the drivers is coming up now, when we are nearing the halfway point of the short qualifying session. So let's see what he can do. Let's have a little look at the meanwhile at Bitto, who's already invalidated his lap, so that's very unfortunate for him on his first outing here for Tier 2. His first attempt's really already fallen into the water. So let's see what he'll do, whether he'll recharge the battery and go again on this set of tires as he teleports around the track. A bit of lag going on over there. Trampy has also already invalidated his lap, so that's a tough luck for many drivers. So we're now switching to a Daisy, currently sitting P8, another reserve driver here. And he's going to try and set a new fast lap on the soft tires. Let's see how much quicker he is. Already over a 10.5 quicker in Sector 1. And according to the game, that's a purple sector. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually true. He's only just over half a second slower than pole position on those medium tires. So if he really is quick, he might be able to put in a great lap here. As we have a yellow flag. It's actually Eruption who's lost the car. And that's the first man spinning out. And this corner in particular is very notorious for spinning drivers out. So that's bad news for him then. He moves out of the way of one of the Alpine cars. A Daisy in the meanwhile on the pre-main straight. Let's see what he'll do. And what kind of lap he will be able to set. I think Sano Goat has just started his hot lap. So we'll have a little look at him very soon. As he now comes onto the main straight. A Daisy, also one of those quick reserve drivers, now putting his car into actual provisional pole position. So surprise, surprise, the top two currently dominated by reserve drivers, interestingly. Sana Goat already purple first sector then, one of the championship contenders with 49 points of a gap to the championship leader Wisp, who's probably currently also driving as fast as he can on a hot lap. Let's see where he is. He's actually now on the pre-main straight. And oh no, Senegoat's crashed just as we switch cameras. It is the end of Senegoat's run. We see him over there on the track, hanging around with a broken car. A Daisy moving. He's actually in the middle of the track, so that's a bit of a dangerous situation. Let's see if his teammate can avoid it, if he is able to do so. Already Senegoat's car has moved out of the way though. And all we need to do now is wait and see what kind of times other drivers can set. But that is very unfortunate for Sanegoda, as he was hoping to start ahead of Wisp, who's driving over here at the moment, trying to set a better lap time. 56 milliseconds faster than his medium tire attempt, which isn't a big improvement if I'm completely honest. So he'll need to find a little bit more if he wants to get closer to the front row. 1 minute 8.7 is the benchmark he needs to beat. Remco also getting really close to the benchmark as well. There he comes then at the end of the final, second sector. Almost 2/10 up on his previous attempt, which would currently set him, I think, at a 1 minute 9.5 or 4-ish if he keeps it up like this. Which is not nearly good enough to get anywhere close to pole position. So he'll need to find extra. Maybe the final chicane will happen there. Here he comes then. Around the final chicane, very close to the wall of champions there, almost scraping it on the way to the finish line. And improving to only P11, the championship lead there in 11th place. So Sanagoat at the moment, probably not too disappointed just yet, as he's still ahead of the championship leader. But it will most likely change. It will most likely change. A lot of yellow flags going on. One of the Ferraris going really slow behind Big Turbina. Let's see if we can find anyone else currently driving a hot lap. Attila currently on the hot lap. Let's see, Wildy. This is not Wildy, this is Wildy. He's actually in a hot lap and he's already nearly 3/10 faster than his previous attempt. We might see the 1 minute 8.6 as predicted by the Rhapsody in the chat there. So let's see if your prediction will come true as he approaches the final chicane now. Oh, nearly losing the car after almost touching the wall of champions. A big moment there, but he's already much quicker than either of our predictions there. A 1 minute 8.4 from Wildy. He's massively quick tonight. Look at that lap time. Despite the big moment he had on the main straight, he puts in a very, very competitive time for the other drivers to try and beat. One of the drivers who might try and do so is Psycho here, but I think he's already done his best there, as he's now sitting in 4th place. And we have a retirement. It's a Ferrari going very slow over there, but it is Feral Dude, one of the Aston Martin reserve drivers, who is out of qualifying. He was only P14, so he'd be bitterly disappointed by that. Crampy then also either getting ready or going back into the pit lane to prepare for his final attempt. Let's see what he will do. He's currently turned on the battery, so I think he's going to go for another attempt. We know this man is quick, but he's just not having the luck yet. Only very few points on the board at the moment. And he knows his team and himself as well need those points. So let's see what he can do as we follow him on board into turns 1 and 2. To see if he can improve on his medium tire lap. Currently Sanago being the quickest on the medium tires, still sitting in the top 10 on those tires. He might actually be able to start on them if other people will not improve, which I highly doubt. There's still 6 minutes remaining. And already Crampy is 2/10 quicker than his previous attempt, already quicker than Sanago, so he'll definitely fall down to P9. Bit of a twitchy oversteering moment there as he's giving it all on his soft set of tires. I nearly struggled over those words, tried to say that 5 times in a row. Nearing the end of the final sector, past the DRS detection zone, and already almost 4/10 quicker. He'll definitely go into the 1 minute 8s if he's quick enough. He's got a purple second sector there. He might potentially place himself into the top 5 if he can keep it up. What will happen with Crampy then? On the pre-main straight, as I'd like to call it. Approaching the final chicane, let's hope no scary moments will happen for him there. Neatly cutting the corner, no lap invalidation, and now it's just power down into the finish line. He actually got himself into P3. That's a great lap from Crampy in the Ferrari, setting himself onto the 2nd row of the grid. Very well done. Let's see who's just behind him. I think that is actually, yeah, there we are, a Daisy on his hot lap attempt. He's giving it his all at the moment. He's narrowly ahead of Crampy there. He's 81 milliseconds slower on his attempt here at the moment. He might have been held up a little bit by Crampy over there, but he's safely holding the front row position along with another reserve driver in the name of Wildy. And there's a lap invalidation, so that is his attempt over then. Very unfortunate. And we see another car spinning. It's actually Bitto, who spun out his Mercedes. Either that or he moved out of the way of the AlphaTauri ahead of him. As he's heating up his tires, or sorry, his engine, sitting around in 4th gear. Very interesting tactic there. And now he has to slow down to let one of the Red Bulls past. That actually might be Wisp, who's actually on the hot lap attempt, as we see a tire randomly standing around on the track, interestingly. And there we go then, Wisp 6/100ths of a second quicker than his previous attempt, which is still not good enough to climb a lot of positions. It is definitely a way of burning fuel, I'm aware of that, but it's still very hilarious to see somebody just revving their engine to the max just to burn fuel. There he comes then, round the final chicane. Wisp comes! No twitchy moments there for him. And he improves from P12 all the way up to, well, nowhere, to be honest. He's quicker. but it's not good enough to improve, so it's not looking good then for Wisp at the moment. He's not able to get closer. He's nearly a second slower than the current provisional pole sitter. Deegserve, in the meanwhile, has improved massively to sit in second place on the front row. Remco is getting ready for his final attempt there in his Alpine. Let's see what he can do. The only remaining Williams right here has just started his hot lap attempt. Fraser there, getting ready to go. Let's see what he can do to improve on his position. He would like to get those extra points, if I'm totally honest. He's currently sitting 11th in the driver's standings, and almost looks like he's slowed down to a crawl. There we are. There we go. He's given up on this attempt. And he'll have to wait a bit longer to improve his lap. And Remco currently... Wow, look at that! I was about to say 4/10 quicker, but he just crossed the line, so that was a bit confusing there as his teammate Polypunk comes out of the pit lane. Anyway, a big Turbina, a big improvement from the man from Latvia over there. Going up into second place and under 2/10 slower than current provisional pole sitter Wildy, who's still holding to that position firmly. Great job from him. So let's see, Remco then, almost 1/10 quicker than his previous attempt. That will move him up a position for sure. Let's see what he can do then in the second sector. Will it be an even bigger improvement? He needs to put in the effort there. Yes, there you go. Over 1/10 quicker this time, and a purple second sector, which might actually be true. DRS open. As much speed as he can carry at the pre-main straight as he approaches the final chicane. Let's see what we can get there. Good exit there. A Daisy retiring from the session in the pit lane, and Remco moving to the front row. It is 5/100 of a second slower than Wildy, but that's a mighty attempt there from the Dutchman to climb into provisional second place on the front row. And now switching to his teammate. Let's see what he can do there. Only sitting 10th at the moment, and he's currently about P6-ish in the driver's standings. Fraser rejoining the session now. Let's hope he's not got enough time to get out of the pit lane. There's only 50 seconds remaining. Qualifying is now drawing to a close. It's now or never for many of these drivers. Wisp is currently sitting in 8th place. That is his biggest improvement there. He's now in the top 10. Sanogo pushed out of the top 10 on his medium tires. So we'll have a free tire choice. That's the only upside from starting out of the top 10. Wow, that's a bit too much of a corner cut there, and that's Polypunk's attempt to improve on his lap. Completely over. You'll not be able to get back round for another attempt there, unfortunately for him. So there's only a few drivers who will still be able to try and set a lap time. Attila retired. He'll stay in P13 as his reserve teammate Bitto now comes up for his final attempt then. He's in between two Ferraris who are, I think, both on hot laps. So let's see what Bitto can do. He throws his car right and left. Absolutely on the limit there. Let's see what he can do. There's a Alfa Romeo standing still pretty much to let all of those drivers pass. It's well, I'm happy he's on the right side of the road, because that would be a bit scary if you're approaching that quick. Going into the corner over there. But Bitto looking good at the moment. Improved in the first sector. Can he improve in the second sector also? Let's see there. Almost 3/10 quicker. He might actually be able to move in 1 minute 8. Let's see if that will happen. Could potentially find a top 10 position here. Polypunk now moved down to P11. Fraser now in 10th. Wisp down to 9th. Will Bittle be able to beat the championship leader on his reserve outing as he's lagging back and forth on the track? Comes around the final corner. Approaches the finish line, and it's going to be an improvement up to P9. Eruption behind him has already finished his attempt. It's actually Crampy! It's Crampy who was behind him, and he claims pole position at the last possible moment. The Englishman finally does it and puts himself in the prime position for this race. Now, of course, he needs to finish it in actual racing, but it is a very, very strong and powerful qualifying. Look at that. A 1 minute 8.343 is the pole position time here for Tier 2. And Ferrari is in pole position. AlphaTauri then wildly in second place. Remco in third. Big Turbina in fourth. And there is the rest of your list all the way down to last place. And that is where Aro will start without a lap time. Hadar ahead of him without a lap time as well. Kierbo, while in pole position in tier 2, now starts with the slowest time in tier 3. Now starts with the slowest time in tier 2. That was quite epic to see. Suddenly, it is Crampy at the top. And he needs this kind of motivation. I'm sure he'll be very, very pleased with this. Having a little look actually at his previous results. Crampy, let me look him up in the race results. Yep, no points still on the board for him. A P16 being the best result in Portugal and Imola. 2 DNFs and 4 non-race starts. So, yeah, as I said, no luck for him there. Of course, those previous race starts at the beginning of the season because he wasn't a permanent driver for Ferrari back then. And now he is, and this is his biggest opportunity yet. A dry race coming up then. Someone has gone all in on yes. Let me actually check the prediction there. Well, it's currently looking like no. Has the massive edge. So let's see what will happen. Can Crampy win from pole position? A lot of channel points have been put into no. Of course, we all know this is a long race coming up. Let's have a little look at the tires there, see what people will do. Of course, the entire top 10 starting on the softs. Many drivers outside of the 10 starting on the medium tires. One of them on the hards, Polypunk, interestingly, decides to go for a completely different strategy compared to most drivers. Reapy and Kierbo in P16 and 18 also starting on the softs. So in terms of strategy, there's plenty of interesting stuff going on. We see some drivers leaving the session as well, which is a bit of a worry. And now Yes has suddenly gained the edge with a 60,000 channel points, over 50,000 for no, rounded down. I'm honestly rooting for this man. He deserves it. And let's see if he can actually do it. He was already in a hurry, well ahead of the field, slowing down right now to make sure he doesn't have to wait too long at the starting line. Both the drivers, Big Turbina and Bito, have rejoined the lobby, fortunately. Big Turbina especially will be happy to be having rejoined. There he is. His AI is currently driving around at the back of the field. He'll be able to slot back into 4th place soon enough. Let's hope he'll be able to rejoin his car in time. There they come then, approaching their final starting position. We are getting ready to race. Ready to rumble, ready to roll. Big Turbina ghosting through everyone to get this car up to P4 on the grid. Let's see who will get the better start out of Wiley and Crampy. They are very close together in terms of qualifying. Of course, you shouldn't count out Remco either. Big Turbina might pull off a surprise as well. Here we go then. 2 flashing lights, 3 flashing lights, 4 flashing and 5 flashing lights. And the race is now officially underway. Looks like a mighty start there from Crampy. And a bad start from Wiley. He's already lost 1 position. Already he's getting under threat by Big Turbina as well. But he maintains his 3rd position. But there you are. Big Turbina having a better exit, or a better entry in the corner. And then Wiley gets a better exit, but he still has to defend there. He's already lost the position to Remco. Now Remco is 2nd place, immediately pressurizing the race leader over there. And it is Wiley smashing his car into the wall. It is actually the worst possible start there for the reserve driver, the AlphaTauri, against a virtual safety car, as he already lost several other drivers. Feral Dude's already out of the race. Attila has fallen down in the grid. So terrible news there for one of the reserve Aston Martin drivers. The virtual safety car will slow down the session for at least half a lap. And Remco and Crampy having already pulled away a massive gap to the field. Look at this. Remco was almost plowing into the back there of the Ferrari. Oh dear, the game doesn't let him take control of the car. That's very unfortunate. No good news there for Bito, as his car is driving around with the AI. Fallen down to P14 already. Let's hope he's able to pull off some fix one way or another. Victorino having closed the gap a little bit at least, as the racing will soon get back underway. It almost looks like racing's gone underway, while they're being forced to pit there. Several other drivers going into the pit lane as well to get a fresh front wing. Wiley, starting on the front row, is already out of winning contention unless the safety car can somehow miraculously save his race. And it's even worse for Attila there, as he had to wait for Bito to replace the front wing. We still have the virtual safety car situation, and it's back underway. Racing has moved back on the way again, and Psycho immediately capitalizes and loses the car in the middle of the road, trying to overtake Wisp there for 5th, or Dixer was for 5th place, and he's already spun his car 180 degrees around the track. That was like the worst possible restart you can think of after virtual safety cars. His tires might have been too cold there. And look at this, Gian now into 6th place. Dixer fighting with Fraser for 7th. They are now side by side on the pre-main straight. Let's see who comes out on top. It currently looks like Fraser has the edge on the Alfa Romeo, and therefore Dixer decides to slot in behind him. One of the drivers there going into the pit lane is actually Dixer, surprisingly, going into the pit there. Might have a bit of damage one way or another, so that is no good news there for the Alfa Romeo team. Crampy still leading the race, but Remco is pretty much on his tail, ready to strike. Big Turbine has closed the gap to within a second. That will help him for sure, defending with DRS there from Daisy, who's doing a brilliant job hanging around in P4. But look at this, Wisp, the championship leader, already clawed his way back up from P9 to P5. He's ready for the attack, ready to go. And of course, there's other drivers who've made a great start. Let's have a little look at those position changes. A few examples here then. We have Sanogoat moving up 5 places, 3P moving up 6, and Kjarbo moving up 7 places since the race starts. So it's a good job from him. His teammate Aro is currently missing. The camera can't reach him yet. Looks like he spun his car as well. And there's a yellow flags all over the place for him. This man just can't catch a break. He hasn't finished in the points just yet there. And Remco is getting ready to attack for the lead. He is going to get ready to place his Alpine car into the lead of the race. He's going to pull out side by side. He will have the inside line in turn 1. Crampy is trying to defend, but it's of no use as the Dutchman moves into the lead of the race. There he goes then, and off into the distance he might potentially go. Crampy is not able to follow just yet, and immediately he's under pressure from Big Turbina as well. Now the top 4 is incredibly tight together as Wisp is trying to close the gap to those 4 drivers. His teammate is in that front group over there. Let's see what he can do to help the championship leading teammate there. But do not forget that behind Wisp there's other drivers who haven't given up the chase on him as well. As Wisp doesn't have DRS, it means that he's under pressure from Gian to lose his 5th place again. What happened to the Mercs? Well, one of them had a bad start and the other can't control his car anymore, so Bito is unable to control the car. And Attila has had a bad start, lost some of his front wing, had to come into the pit lane. And look at that, Crampy hasn't got the pace to stay with Remco. He does have the DRS, so that's lucky for him. He can close the gap a little bit. We have another yellow flag, and it looks like a big crash there as the AI of Bito has retired. Deekserve is standing still at the moment there. He's had a bit of a come together there with the Alfa Romeo. Oh, sorry, with the Mercedes, and we have a safety car situation. So Remco, while trying to build the gap, can start all over again. The safety car is just behind them, so everybody can pass it now. So that's very unfortunate for the Dutchman. And now, of course, it's going to be interesting to see what it will happen in terms of strategy, as the safety car is currently posing a massive obstacle. Sanogoat nearly crashes into the safety car. Let's see if they can stay safe from it. The safety car currently more like the unsafety car, as he's just in the way of drivers. There he goes, moving left and right. As drivers, not so safety car. That's a better word to say. Oh dear me, he's actually moved aside now and standing still, which is a bit of a safer thing to do there. Kierbo fallen down back to 14th place. Let's switch back to the tires and see if anybody has changed it actually. That's the wrong way. We change it. There we go. Kierbo has already pitted under safety car conditions. He might gain a few places when the rest does so as well. And I think especially the top 6 will come in, as they're all still driving around in softs. There they come then. The entire top 6 coming in, of course. There'll be a double stacked stop for Red Bull, which is bad news there for Wisp, as he's being forced to wait a little bit longer, and therefore he's losing out on quite a few positions. Look at that. Drive-through penalty for Digsurf. Oh dearie me. Bad news there. And now we have an interesting Williams 1-2 here in Tier 2. They've decided not to stop, and it's their right to do so, obviously. Oh, Digsurf's getting another drive-through penalty. What on earth is going on here? It's like he's just given up. Haydar Toke has gotten a time penalty for cutting the track under safety car conditions, which is interesting. So there we have it then. Now it's Fraser leading the race ahead of Sano Goat. He'll need that. Polypunk in 3rd. Haydar in 4th at the moment. And then there's the first of the guys to have pitted. Remco hanging around in P5. His teammate is just ahead of him. I'm quite sure Polypunk won't make much of a big of a deal to move out of the way of his championship chasing teammate. And look at this, Wisp down in 10th. Aro and Dixer braked in front of him. Brake checked. Alright, that's something for the FIA to look at then, if that is true. So Dixer potentially has got a double drive-through penalty. Very strange. Never seen that before. So then, 1 Aston Martin, 1 Mercedes out of the race, both reserve drivers, and the other car is a reserve car as well. Eruption heading into the pit lane, not happy with his soft tire choice. Probably a mistake by the game then, otherwise he wouldn't go for a second pit stop in a row. He'll lose only 1 position due to this. A triple drive-through, that's even worse. I'm surprised the game doesn't just disqualify you when that happens. Either way, the field is starting to close up. Eruption is able to get ahead, just ahead of Aro there, out of the pit lane. As we are waiting for the race to get back underway. Safety car is now doing its job properly, instead of being in the way of many drivers trying to pass it. All we need to do is wait for Deeksurf to get back to the group, and then we are complete again. We're whole again. That's how I'd like to say it. But maybe the safety car will come in right now. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to stay out for another lap, as Deeksurf is too far back at the moment. His race being pretty much over already with the double drive-through, which he cannot serve under safety car conditions. There he is then, pretty much back with the group. And the fact that the safety car is staying out longer will definitely benefit those drivers who haven't pitted yet. They can make their tires last a bit longer and then go for a one-stop, especially Polypunk with his hard tires. Will able to go very long and then switch to the soft tires at the end of the race and just go for it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of strategy. The man is second in the Drivers' Championship, currently in 2nd place, but he still has to pit. Let's see how long he can go. He might also just go very long and then just chunk on the soft tires until the end of the race. I think that might be potentially the best option to do. This then must be the final lap for the safety car to go around the track. And then we will see if Fraser can hold the lead over his teammate. The man 11th in the drivers. There it is, the message we've all been waiting for. Safety car in this lap, and that now means that Fraser is dictating the pace for the entire field. So everybody's gonna have to be very careful and pay close attention to the drivers ahead of them to see if they don't slow down big time. But it's looking like Fraser's just taking it easy, getting as much heat into his tires as he possibly can to get ready to restart racing, because cold tires will definitely catch you out when you go through the chicane or into turns 1 and 2. And he's making several fake attempts to get going. Most drivers actually do it in the chicane or just after the chicane, and Fraser's doing the exact same thing, and he's definitely getting away well there at the race restart. It looks like everybody's now back underway for the first restart of the race, and the top 3 pretty much remains the same. It looks like everybody else is remaining in the same position for now at least. And so everybody was then pretty much awake during the race restart, that's for sure. Eruption already losing connection to the car ahead of him. Attila driving away from him, while at the same time also losing connection to the car ahead of himself. So we might see a few isolated cars there. Now then, Deekserve, having served his first drive-through penalties, now getting ready to serve his second. Poor man, poor man. Already Haydar Toke getting ready to pass Polypunk because the hard tires aren't that optimal just yet. Trying to force himself round the outside into the hairpin, but Polypunk having the inside line will have the shorter route round the corner, and therefore for now stays ahead. But it is also Remco who's mingling himself in the battle for 3rd place, and now is going to be interesting to see what will happen with both Alpines, as they have one of the Aston Martins right in between them, fighting for position as well over there. Let's turn on the telemetry to see how the battery is doing, as I saw a flashing red light over there on Haydar's car. And there already is the attack of Remco there, going and try and take the position from Haydar, who's on the older medium tires over there. And there we go then, Remco now ahead of Haydar, moving into 4th and immediately hoping his teammate will move out of his way into 3rd place. Polypunk struggling to keep up with the race leaders, both Williams now followed by both Alpines, as Kierbo makes a move, goes onto the grass, and Riesby losing several positions due to that move, most likely. He was into 11th, fallen down to 15th now, and immediately Kierbo keeps going on the offense, trying to take 11th from Psycho there. No success just yet, as Wildly is attempting to take the place as well. Polypunk is getting re-attacked by Haydar, who's trying to go around the outside this time, and it actually succeeds. There you go. Haydar now into 4th place. Polypunk losing many places on his hard tires. He just can't get them to work. He's losing every single position he had gained during the safety car. So the hard tires, I'm quite sure he now realizes he has to play the long game, as he's now also getting attacked by Gian, and Daisy in the meantime is also attacking Haydar. And it's on his fresher set of medium tires to take P4 for the time being. Gian now ahead of Polypunk, and Polypunk also now pressurized by Big Turbina, who would really like to get past Krempy there in 9th place after the first round of safety car pit stops. Trying to keep up there. He's sandwiched by both Red Bull drivers at the moment, so he's under a mighty amount of pressure to keep his position. Let's see though what's going on at the head of the race. It looks like Fraser is starting to clear a small gap there to his teammate. Despite his teammate having more points, Fraser is actually forcing him to race for it, as Krempy is now fighting with Big Turbina there for 8th place. They're side by side. Wisp is hanging back, seeing what will happen. Polypunk is slowly becoming an obstacle for both of these drivers, as he doesn't have the speed whatsoever on these hards. And Big Turbina fighting back. Krempy will probably be forced to stay behind him because of the... Oh my goodness, it's almost a massive collision there in the final chicane. Now Wisp is immediately side by side with his teammate, while Big Turbina though back out from a fight with his championship leading teammate. Yes, he does. He's sticking behind him, and Psycho trying to make a move goes off the track, trying to stick with the other positions there, but it looks like a massive scrap there going on for P9, P8, all the way down to P13, with all these cars fighting for a position. Meanwhile, Remco is very close to Sanagov there on the fresher medium tires, so there's another battle brewing up very soon over there as well. Krempy then going in a fight with Polypunk, trying to move ahead of him, but Polypunk doesn't really want to back out just yet. He does take P7 for the time being though, Crampy does. And now the chase is on. He's got no DRS just yet. He's chasing Hadar down, but he's going to be in trouble here. He is within DRS range now, but the detection point was a bit earlier, as you can see on the track map. And therefore, he might be in trouble. However, Polypunk is not nearly being able to keep up, and now he's getting attacked by Wisp and has lost 8th place, now down to 9th. He's lost 6 places in the span of about 3 or 4 laps. So it's not going well there for the second Alpine driver as he tries to claw back the position, tries to go at the inside, but no success just yet. And we have a group forming at the front. It's a group of 4. Fraser, Sanagot, Remco and a Daisy creating that front group as Gian is not able to keep the pace there with the other drivers. And we have something going on here. Kierbo suddenly losing all the positions in the world. Fallen down from P12 to P16 right there. And it's a bit of a front wing that has been chipped away from him. So he must have had a bit of a collision there. We saw him fighting hard with several drivers there. Now Attila takes P12 from Psycho, who is already going off the track again. He might have got some damage himself as well. And he's falling down the order. Aro is now attacking him. And Big Turbina in the meanwhile is making a move at the hairpin, trying to take 9th place from Polypunk and is succeeding to do so. And now he's right on the back of his teammate. But Polypunk actually, his tires are slowly coming back to life and he really needs that. He's having a look to reclaim the position, but no success just yet. Wildly in the meanwhile is trying to take that last that last point paying position from him. Psycho and Kierbo, yeah, I was afraid that would have happened. Psycho having the front wing damage there and not being able to continue racing. Look at this, Remco is really starting to threaten Sanagov there. These are men fighting for the championship as well. They are only 1 position apart on track, as are they in the championship. They're both 2nd and 3rd on track and 2nd and 3rd with 10 points in between them in the driver's standing. So there is definitely a big fight for these both going on. So a bit of a breather then for me. As Gian is actually starting to close the gap once again, as you can see him over there. Back to the race leaders. I'm surprised how well Sanagot and Fraser are keeping it up. Probably using as much of teamwork as possible to keep behind the stampeding Alpine car of Remco van Putten. He's now going for another attempt to overtake them. He's getting closer, but it's not close enough. It's 0.2 of a second, which is a dangerous point to try and overtake in the chicane. He needs a good exit here, and he does get a good exit. Sanagot had a bit of an oversteering moment. Now he's forced to defend the inside. Remco's, oh my goodness, that's a big defense going on there from Sanagot, trying to keep his position, and Remco just forcing himself through. He's not appreciative of the defense of Sanagot over there as he now heads into 2nd place. Looking good there for the Dutchman. He can now put on the chase for the lead of the race. Sanagot is trying to keep with him. He's gonna have to drive really hard there with his older medium tires. And now a Daisy is knocking on his door, getting ready to snatch P3 from him, which is effectively 2nd place, of course. We have a yellow flag. Eruption spinning out. Not sure if that happened on his own or if that was caused by a collision. Wildly getting a 3-second penalty. I'm telling you, that will definitely not be the last penalty we'll see tonight. This track is very penalty trigger happy, and it's Sanagot losing the car out of the hairpin and his front wing as well. So that's a disaster then for the men trying to chase 2nd place in the championship. Now Remco is in prime position to claim that 2nd place and some big points to close to get to Wisp. He's still hanging around in 8th place. So that's the points dream for Sanagot over in one fell swoop. All Remco needs to do right now is win the race, and he can gain a big haul of points and potentially 2nd place in the driver's standings. But we have Sanagot's teammate ahead of him, and he'll most likely do everything to keep the Dutchman behind him. Gian has closed the gap, as you can see. Hadar is still following with them, surprisingly. Crampio's already up to P6, getting ready to attack the Aston Martin. Can he do so, though? He's getting ever closer. Reapy overtaking Aro and actually fighting for P12. They are together, as you can see there in the standings. And Crampy there with a mighty move on the inside in the hairpin. And he will have DRS as well. Has taken 5th place. What a great move there from the Englishman. And he's now back in the top 5. And ready to chase down Gian. And hopefully for himself reclaim 4th place as Hadar now heads into the pit lane for his race, his pit stop. Let's see what tires he'll switch to. Most likely it will be the hard tires. No, it's going to be the soft, so that will definitely be his 2-stop race then for the Aston Martin. I think he'll hope for a safety car to potentially save some more of this situation. So there we have then Fraser under big pressure from the Dutchman behind him. Remco getting ready to swoop back into the lead of the race. How long will it take him though? Does have a DRS here. He doesn't use his battery just yet. He's just using it to close the gap as much as he can. Follow as closely as he can. Kierbo getting a 3-second time penalty as well. I told you the penalty would rack up now midway in the race. And this, I think, will be the moment for Remco to strike. Otherwise, he'll have an issue there with the Daisy. Got a great exit there out of the hairpin. This must be his moment to do it. Unless, of course, Fraser will come in. Maybe he actually anticipates the pit stop of Fraser there. No, he keeps going. He actually keeps going. It might be that Fraser will try to go for a 1-stop. And therefore Remco will be forced to sit behind him even longer. Fortunately for him, Daisy hasn't gone for a move just yet. Crampy has now closed the gap to the group and is joining the fight with them. Big Turbina in the meanwhile, ahead of his teammates still. How long will that last? As Pit looks like Wisp's currently having the better pace at the moment. And it's an inter-team battle there between both Red Bulls. Let's see what will happen. We have a yellow flag as Kierbo out of the final chicane, crashing onto the main straight. And it's another safety car, which will definitely mess up strategies for many drivers again. And Fraser is the luckiest man in the world. He hasn't made a pit stop and he's very lucky that he hasn't done so. Polypunk as well. No pit stop for him just yet. And this is perfect for the Williams leading the race. He couldn't have wished for a better situation. His teammate is far behind. So you won't have any issues going into the pit right now. And of course he will be doing so. And of course the rest of the field follows suit. So, depending on what Big Turbina and Wisp will do, they are going in as well. As does everybody behind them. Unsurprisingly. It means Fraser will come out still in the lead. Wow. He's going for a set of softs, so he's definitely coming in for another time then. Which is unusual. But he doesn't have a choice. He started on a medium, so he can't go to another set of mediums to finish the race. They can do 13 laps on full fuel. Well, this is definitely a lot more than 13 laps. I'm not sure he'll be able to make it to the end. I think he puts under the softs in anticipation of a third safety car. Because I think honestly half the race in softs is a very, very long stretch. He'll definitely drop a lot in pace. But he didn't really have a choice. It was either the hards or the softs. And then, to be honest, I can't really disagree with him on this. But it's going to be tough. Going to be very tough. It is indeed a long shot. I agree with Sidewinder here. I hope he's good with tires there, Henners. I hope he is for his sake. Polypunk is thinking the same. Honestly, if I were him, I would have gone for the mediums. Because he started in the hards. It would have been an easy choice. So there we have it then. A lot of different strategies. Aro also going for the softs, as is Senna Goat. I like that. Different strategies. Attila there. It's the only driver to have gone for the hard tires. He'll be in trouble at the race restart for sure. We've seen Polypunk massively struggling with his hard tires at the first restart here in Canada. So I'm afraid we're going to see the same from Attila. His tires might potentially be even colder as he took them fresh from the pit lane. And yes, I'm going to be honest, I think Remco's got the best papers here to win the race. And he'll be very happy to do so, as he's only won the first race of the season and only achieved a second and third place in Monaco and Portugal. I had a double race ban in Imola and the USA. One DNF, and last race was outside the points, so he'll need that. His nearest rival, Wisp, due to the pit stops, has fallen down to 13th place. Car number 75 over there. He'll need to claw back a load. Oh my goodness! Psycho loses the car under safety car conditions, and now we can all say we can blame. I'll let you finish the sentence. We can only blame one person for that. Losing the car under safety car. There's only one person to blame for that. A little hint, I think ... hit us. Either way, the field is pretty much bunched up. The safety car is announcing a very late coming in at the end of this lap. So Fraser immediately has to prepare himself to get ready to race. Can he keep the soft tires alive until the end? That is the big question. Can Remco benefit from that situation of Fraser's tires falling off sooner or later? Fraser's taking as long as he can to restart the race, and there he goes. He's already off, and Remco immediately under pressure from Daisy there. That's not what he wanted. Daisy trying to go around the outside into turn one, but no success on the attack there for second place. Remco, thankfully for himself, is able to keep the position. Aro is already spun out into turn one. Hadar has lost a few positions there as well, so that's terrible news for the only remaining Haas driver. He's already running behind. Bad restart then for him, as Psycho, after spinning his car, is trying to reclaim 13th place from Eruption, and successfully doing so, at least for now. But Eruption will have the inside line. No, he decides to slot in behind the McLaren driver there. Back to the head of the race. Remco is actually able to keep up with Fraser's faster tires, which means Remco has got a lot more pace in him. And he will be eager to get past the Williams in the lead. He'll be very eager to do so. All he needs to make sure, though, is he will not get any penalties. Because, as I said, this track is very happy to give you a penalty, as Big Turbina and Wisp actually show. Both of them, both Red Bulls getting a 3-second time penalty out the final chicane. Wisp has already been granted 2 places due to Aro spinning out. And wow, look at the lunge there into turn 2, trying to take 10th place from Reapy there. He didn't see that one coming, Reapy, that's for sure. A mighty lunge around the outside. A great jot of throttle there, trying to claim the position. And immediately Yaya Sanagoat, the nearest rival as Wisp, is doing the same thing, going around the outside of Reapy and then claiming 11th place there. But wow, what a move there from Wisp to gain a point-paying position. So that is Wisp then up into P10. His teammate is hanging around in P6 at the moment, trying to cling on to Crampy's pace there. Crampy also trying to keep up with the top 4 there, as Remco is easily, I think it looks like he's taking it easy there. Easily staying with Fraser at the moment. Fraser giving it his all, I'm afraid. Not sure how long those tires will last if he does that lap after lap, trying to keep the medium runners behind him. DRS now enabled. Overtaking isn't easy on this track, as we all know. And there we go then. The main rivals fighting for position, and Sanogo trying to take P10 from Wisp this time, trying to make the same move as Wisp did. He has more grip coming out of turn 2. He is now ahead, but it is Wisp who has the inside line, but decides to back out for the time being, as he most likely knows as well that those tires of Sanogoat might not last the whole distance of the rest of the race. So Wisp then taking the back seat for the time being. And Attila, surprisingly, is able to keep up quite nicely on his hard tires there, currently in 9th place. So it's looking good for him there. Remco is getting ready to put on an attack, looks like at least. Crampy there with a mighty move. Once again, his favorite place to overtake, it looks like, is the inside of the hairpin. Now claiming 4th place from Guillen. This man would really like to get a podium place after all the woes and bad luck he's been having. And it's looking ever brighter for the Ferrari driver there. He started on a surprise pole position. And he's definitely not out of race winning position just yet. But he does have a penalty. So that's bad news. He's got a purple final sector. So he's really pushing it hard now. Closing up the gap to Adesi ahead of him in 3rd place at the moment. The reserve McLaren driver doing a great job there at the moment. Polypunk picking up another 3-second time penalty there as well. And we have a yellow flag as Dijkserv has spun out. It's just not his day. It really just isn't his day at all. Back to the lead of the race though, as we are fighting here between... oh, dearie me, it's Remco getting a penalty. I told you, Remco, you shouldn't get a penalty if you want to win the race. Now he's going to have to push even harder to get a clear 3-second gap to Fraser. We have another yellow flag. Haydar Toke spinning out of the big battle going on there at the rear of the field. And there he goes then. He's immediately going on the offense after realizing he's got a penalty, and now he has to do it. And he does it. He goes into the lead of the race then. And now all he needs to do is getting that 3-second gap to Fraser, or hope that Fraser himself will get a penalty, and a Daisy as well. Both of them will currently overtake him if the race would finish right now. Crampy will be quite happy to see that, because he's now on equal footing with Remco there, leading the race. So it's looking a bit brighter for him there if he wants to claim a podium place. All he needs to do is overtake Fraser and a Daisy and drive away 3 seconds from him, from both of them. And Dijkserv retired from the sessions. He's had enough with all the bad luck he's having, and I don't blame him. He is now out. That makes 4 retirements here in Tier 2 in Canada. Look at this. Fraser is not able to keep up with Remco's mighty pace, despite the softer tires he has. He's losing the connection to the race leader, and Daisy is also not able to keep up with Fraser at the moment, which is a good news there for Crampy, who's closing the gap to the McLaren. Trying to claim the podium position. Sanogo then moving up the field still, making the most of his soft tires. As opposing to Fraser, who can't really make the most of those tires. Sanogo, his teammate, is doing the exact opposite of that. That's not a bad assumption there either there, What Noise. Might be doing that. Haydar Toke retiring from the session. Aro is coming into pit as well, and we have a safety car. Because Haydar Toke actually retired on the track. Interesting. Now this is the best news for those soft tire users. They'll be happy to see this happening. Yep. Oh man, indeed. There will be soft tires for everybody till the end of the race for sure, yes. There's no other way. A shootout for the points. 5 retirements, 15 drivers remain. With Haydar Toke crashing himself out after the final chicane. And I'm quite sure that Remco will be coming in. Yes, of course he does. And here we have the surprise, surprise. Daisy decides to stay out. And he isn't the only one doing so. Not by a long shot. And the weirdest thing of all was that Polypunk is staying out as well, as does Sanogo, both on soft tires. I think they're just hoping they'll last and they'll be quicker than the rest of the guys behind them on fresh softs. I think they're massively underestimating their position now. 7 people stayed out. That's like the worst thing for Remco, who's just started to lead the race. The worst possible thing. I wasn't expecting that either, Guzzy, I'll be honest. They will have a lot of work cut out for them, as there will only be about 7 or 6 laps remaining when the safety car comes in. I don't think Remco is going to eat it inside everybody's corner there. Because he's got a championship to fight for. And worst for news for him is that Wisp is now ahead of him. But a slightly better thing for him, though, is that Wisp decided to stay out. And is now on 8-lap old medium tires. And right now, Remco's tires are much, much, much fresher. Sanagoat stayed out as well, which is, Julian's is quite shocking that both Sanagoat and Polypunk decided to stay out on their worn soft tires. It won't be long until those tires will start to wear off. So I think they just hope for carnage. I'm sorry to hear that, Dig Surf. Oh, dearie me, what on earth is going on? Ah, leg spike there from Polypunk. I thought he just decided to park it onto the grass. Fortunately for him, that didn't happen. Because that would have made his choice to stay out on old softs a bit worse. Yeah, there's a very weird laggy situations. We saw it happen with Polypunk there. His car just parked onto the grass. Anyway, the field is bunched up once again. It is a Daisy now leading the field then. I never thought I would say that, to be honest. A Daisy leading the field, Crampy in second place. He started on pole, he's almost back into his position there. As there's a bit of confusion going on with Polypunk and Sanagoat. 5th and 6th. Safety car coming in then at the end of this lap. Now this man will dictate the pace until the finish line. Crampy's gonna have to be awake. He's gonna have to make the most of the situation if he still wants to win the race. He's been screwed by the safety car the first and second time. This is his moment to strike. And those who will have the biggest work cut out for them are Remco and the men behind them on the freshest tires. Wow, look at that. Daisy's going for it really early. Long before the chicane even happened, he decides to pull down the power and just go for it. And immediately several drivers are getting a penalty there due to that nice chicane over there. But it looks like a very proper restart, and Sanagoat immediately going on the offense and nearly spinning Polypunk out there. It was so close for Polypunk to getting spun out. He loses the position either way. And now he's fallen down to P6 as the 10-lap old soft tires are starting to show their age for sure. Remco there is going to have to make the most of it. He's going to have to drive like crazy if he wants to regain the lead. He's only got 6 laps to do so. Another 3 seconds for Crampy. Yeah, that's even worse for him then. No good news for the Ferrari driver. Look at the superior grip that Remco has over Wisp, as he's now going to try and take him around the outside of the hairpin. His teammate is just ahead of him. Can he help him out of some way? And Wisp is doing brilliant defending on his older medium tires there. Remco getting a better exit, slotting in behind the championship leader, almost pushing the Red Bull through the pre-main straight. Is he able to pull a move on him there? He's having a little look, but he doesn't go for it just yet, as going through the chicane at that speed is very, very risky and dangerous. And now he's going for it, getting a brilliant exit out of the chicane and taking P7 with ease. And now he's right behind his teammate, who is on much older soft tires. Whip is trying to claw back, but he's not succeeding in doing so. What will Polypunk do? Of course, he moves out of the way. And now Polypunk for sure will try to harass Wisp as much as he possibly can. Which is great teamwork there from the Alpine team. And now Fraser's trying to pull off the same moves, and they go 3 wide into the corner, which is the worst possible idea. And they are coming out terrible. It's Attila retiring from the race. Just getting literally squashed into the wall there by Fraser. And that's another safety car. Oh my god. And that's Fraser's potential for the win completely thrown out of the window. And a very late safety car, the 4th car of the race. Now, I don't think anybody's going to come in, because that will lose you so many places. They're all just going to stay out, I think. There they are. Let's see what Sanago does. He stays out as well, he's got no choice. He's got a raging Remco behind him. Wisp, though, does come in, interestingly. He decides to go for a fresh set of tires. And a fresh front wing, so he's got damage. So it's bad news then for him. This is very good news for Sanagold and Remco. Because they can close the gap to the championship leader. Who's now outside the points. And good news for Aro as well. He's now in the points. He hasn't got any points just yet. He's gonna need these points. He would like them. I'm quite sure he's gonna fight hard to keep those points. But he will have the championship leader right behind him, so it's going to be tough to keep up. Unless more carnage happens ahead of him. So we get back underway racing at the end of lap 32, I think. The field isn't bunched up yet. So that means we'll have 3 laps of racing remaining, which isn't a lot. So everybody's going to push it to the limit to make sure to gain as many positions in the shortest time possible. Daisy does have some great papers. He doesn't have any penalties. Crampy's got 6 seconds. Gian as well. Sanagold, if he keeps it up, might be a potential race winner too. It's definitely not over until we see the checkered flag. That's a fact. Especially in this situation. Look at that. Aro, though. I said he's going to claim a point, but he's got 12 seconds of time penalty, so that's no good news there for the Haas. He will not like that. For some reason, Wisp decides to hold up the remaining drivers behind him. There's only 13 of them remaining. 7 DNFs. Eruption has retired as well. After the interesting collision, and Aro is lagging backwards. That's not good. He's now already out of the points before the safety car has even come in, and he's teleporting back even further. Wisp, though, is letting him pass, but that is probably the game now causing a bit of an issue for that. Look at that. Aro is having so much lag. It's almost getting scary. There he goes. I don't think Wisp wants to give him back the position anymore now. It's like, tough luck, buddy. Daisy, Yaya, Sanagold in 1-2. That might just happen. Reserve driver Daisy still leading the race. Crampy with a very little chance of winning the race with the big penalties he's got. Gian as well. Big Turbina might have a shot as well. If he's lucky. Reepe's still got no penalties either. So he might gain a few positions there too. And the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Ah, they are good friends, I see. Well, that would be even more awesome than if they can claim a 1-2. For friendship's sake. So here he is then, the man once again leading away the field. Daisy over here. Daisy, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is he? If I get an interview with him, I'll for sure ask how to pronounce his name. So let's see when he starts the race this time. He started it quite early last time round, and there he goes! Off into the distance, into the final chicane. He plows his McLaren. Crampy once again not able to stay with him. And he is off into the distance. Remco immediately going for the offense on Sanagold, and he easily claims the position as Sanagold's tires, his old soft tires, are pretty much done for. Look at those 14 lap old softs. He's going to be struggling really hard to keep this car on the track now, especially since the tires might be a little bit cold still. Wildy's getting ready to pounce on Polypunk as well. Look at that, into the inside goes Wildy, which was not a good idea as he spins Polypunk out over there. It was a big, brave lunge, but it didn't quite work out for him. And now Polypunk is down and out of the points, and Wisp is now into 8th place already. There he is then, getting ready to attack Reepe for 7th. Remco already into 4th place. He's getting ever closer to the victory here. Sanagold, all he needs to do is keep up with all those penalties ahead of him. Can he do it though on those very, very old and worn soft tires? Good evening, PW Jones. Welcome to the end of this epic Grand Prix. And look at this. Daisy's trying to keep the lead. He doesn't have to fight hard as Crampy's got 6 seconds penalties there. And I think he's just going to let him pass. There he goes. No big time losses for him. He doesn't want that. Because there's some drivers behind him ready to pounce if they need to. And Sanagold is losing connection to the top 5. So I'm afraid the friendship 1-2 is not going to happen. No, but they've sent it into plenty of final other corners, sorry, as if you scroll back through the stream a little bit, you'll see the ascending in every corner except the final one. Crampy then moving away. Remco there moving in third. Past Gian. And now he's gonna have to do it all. I don't think he'll be able to get a 3-second gap to Daisy. But he might actually go for P2. Because he will overtake Crampy. So he got 3 seconds. Wisp then moving into 6th. As Sanagold is ever falling back. It's not working out for him. Fraser's fallen down as well. DRS now enabled for the final lap of the race. Is there anything that the Dutchman Remco can do? It's looking good, but it's not good enough with the 3-second penalties he has. Let me confirm that it's actually 3 seconds. Yes, it is. So that means he will definitely have P2. And he will just have to pray that Daisy gets a penalty. And then he can overtake him. This is his last opportunity to gain the position. Here he comes. Daisy's got no DRS. He's just sitting behind. He's almost pushing the McLaren through those 2 corners. He's telling it to just hurry up, please. And there he goes then, a mighty lunge, a big move into the hairpin, which was a terrible idea. It was almost desperate there from the Dutchman. But he is in 2nd place. He has done it, but now he's at risk of losing 3 seconds to Crampy. And Crampy then pulling away further and further, but he will not win the race. It is going to be Daisy coming out victorious despite losing 2 positions after the race restart. He wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Remco comes down 2nd, and there we go then. Sanagold completing the podium. After struggling to keep up, he still finishes on the podium over there. And finally, the championship lead is shrinking. Because Wisp came home in 6th place. So while it's not a friendship 1-2, it's definitely a friendship podium. With Sanagold and Daisy coming out 1st and 3rd. Sanagold getting the driver of the day, which is not surprising considering he started in a pretty low position after crashing out in qualifying. Let's have a little look at the final results. Here we have it. As you can see there, coming from P13 all the way up to P3 is a mighty achievement. Wisp getting the fastest lap of the race, so that's an extra point for him there. And the final results of these races are as follows. A very, very nice race. A good result for the top 3. An interesting twist of events for the championship lead. As Remco and Sanagold are able to close the gap a little bit. Big Turbina as well. Not by much though, but he is closing the gap a little bit. Getting ever closer to the top 3. So let's see then who wants an interview. So many penalties. Well, this is Canada. So I'm not surprised we see this many penalties. This track is very, very trigger happy for penalties. But yes, I do admit there are a lot of them tonight. Aro is just missing out on points again. So sorry. Desi not going to give an interview, unfortunately. So no comments from the winner of this race. I've never seen Remco giving an interview either. So we might just only hear from Sanagold then. Let's see. Yep, there we have him. Of course, it is Senegoat who is willing to give us his view of the race. Speaking of view of the race, I think we can both agree this was an interesting race, to say the least, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm here. Oh, hello.
Yes, you're here. Hi. So, your thoughts on the race then? It was interesting, wasn't it?
Well, it was interesting for most of the people that race, but not really for me.
Okay, you started 13th, but yeah, you did quite a nice job to climb that many places. So for sure, you must be happy then.
Not gonna lie, this last safety car really carried me. If it wasn't for it, I would have probably finished like P6.
Yeah, but you also were one of those very few drivers who didn't have a penalty, which for sure must have helped you out as well.
Yeah, mate, just keeping it clean, it's the best thing that you can really do.
Yeah, it's very difficult around this track to keep the car inside those white lines. You had very old soft tires. How were those final few laps for you? Because you must have been sliding left, right, and center. We saw you losing more and more ground to the top 5.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible, not gonna lie. I even managed to lose a position to Remco. It was that bad. They were just done. But still getting a podium from this race, from my worst track by far, it's just amazing, to be fair.
Yeah, it's very great to see as well that the championship lead of Wisp is now shrinking. Remco, you are of course still fighting for second place, and now you're closing the gap to Wisp as well. This was your worst track then. Britain next week up. Will that be better for you?
Yeah, definitely Britain is one of my strongest tracks. It's really fun to drive. And if you're smart enough and you're a good tactician, you can definitely win the race.
Do you consider yourself a good tactician?
Well, you probably in the most of the races I do. Britain is just staying in the DRS, choosing when to attack, and just save enough ERS to have to attack.
All right. Well, enjoy your surprise third place tonight. Definitely a good result for you there. And good luck next week in Britain as well then.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
All right, and I'm afraid that's the only interview we're getting tonight. Neither Remco nor Daisy wants to join us, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to hear from either of them, but it is what it is. It has been a great race. Very awesome to see all of these drivers racing hard and fair. There have been some incidents. The FIA is going to have to look at some of them. But other than that, it's been a great race. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much once again for joining me here in Canada. Tune in a few hours' time for the Americas Tier 2 in Canada as well. Tomorrow, 10 p.m. as well for Tier 1 in Canada. And then closing of the week on the same track is the Americas Tier 1. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the commentary and the live stream. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you next week, Monday, 10 p.m. sharp for Great Britain Tier 3. Good day.